On the surface, Babel Restaurant in Menlyn appears to be a thriving upscale dining destination, known for its unique ambiance and fine cuisine. But behind the kitchen doors, a much darker story is unfolding. Hi guys, welcome to Candid Conversations. My name is Bonola and I am your host. Recently, a former employee decided to break the silence and reveal the exploitations happening behind the scenes. The whistleblower who recently got hired and left Babel claims that staff members were subjected to unfair treatment, including illegal working hours, pressure to pay for their own working uniform and pay for the utensils they were going to use, and pressure to perform under poor conditions.
That I'm about to expose. I'm sure they've broken every right at the Labor Relations Act. Just opened, it's in Menlyn. I've been working there for a few days now. So what happened is I went for a job interview. I showed them my CV and my socials, and I was hired on the spot. And then they told me that I should buy a uniform for this job, right? So a cross belt, a white shirt, black shorts, black apron, black shoes. I was like, okay, you know what? It's fine. I'm going to buy those things because I'm just grateful that I got the job. It was a bit for me at first because I was like, I've worked at other places previously and I've never had to buy my own uniform. But I was like, hey, it's whatever. I went to work the next day and then there was just like, oh, guys, there were more things piling up. As waitresses, Zitibana, we have to buy our own equipment, right? I didn't know about that. So basically equipment is a bottle opener, a cigar cutter, a cigarette lighter, cigar lighter. Like you buy all of these things yourself out of your own pocket. Mind you, I had just spent 1,000 rand on just the uniform, excluding alterations, excluding the transport fees, and now I have to buy the equipment myself. But I was like, you know what, it's fine. This was 10 years because I had all of these things within the second day that I was working there, only to find out that there is no contract. There is nothing that is legally binding between you and the restaurant. You just go there, you work. If you get fired, you get fired because there's no contract. How are you going to defend yourself? That was the second red flag for me, actually. And then they were like, we don't have a basic salary. As not basic salary, you make imali liquid tips. This wasn't discussed with me prior. You make imali liquid tips. There's like a mandatory tip of 10% that they bill to the customer. But even that 10% tip, the restaurant takes about, I think it's 20%, 30%. I stand to be corrected. Something about breakage and leverage. I don't know. So, 10%, they still take imali etil. And when you come into work, you have to pay what they call a runner fee, which is 200 rand. So basically, a runner is someone that assists the waitress. And then you also have to pay your runner at the end of the night. Wrong, or maybe I don't know how things work, but all of this seemed extreme to me, especially considering the fact that we don't have a basic salary. So fine, I worked there. My first day, it was not smooth sailing because it is my first day. Yes, I've worked at other places, but it's my first time working here. I'm still trying to learn how things work up. Guys, when I tell you what I went through at that restaurant, I have never gone through that in my entire life, even in my personal life. The way that they treat us, even the way that they talk to us, they make us feel less than, they belittle us. As in a break, you work from 1 p.m. up until 2 a.m. the next day. There's no break. You have to sneak maybe a Red Bull in the bathroom or outside in the corner, even if you're eating a pie yako. We like a manager is going to walk in and scold you for that. It's so, guys, and I just felt like I had to speak up because there is no ways. I don't even know if the customers know that the employees are being treated this way. You know? But I was like, let me suck this up, yabo. Let me just try my best to make imali. But it's even hard to make kwalamali tips because you find that most of the managers, they're friendly with some of the waitresses. So you could be standing there whole day and not even get tables because they're giving it afile kwiitshomi zabo wena awuzosebenza. For example, last week Sunday, I went home with a debt to the restaurant. I ended up having to owe the restaurant 20 rand because of leverage and breakage and whatnot. After working from 1 p.m. up until 2 a.m., I ended up owing them. Excuse me. For example, today, I've worked so hard, but just because andinikwa itafile mna, mhlambi customers will come, they'll say, no, itafile kabani bani leyana, no, customer kabani bani. You're like, okay, sharp, sure, I see how this is. Today, I went home with 100 rand tips. I went home with 100 rand tips today after working from 1 p.m. up until 2 a.m. And I was like, you know what? But it's okay. So before work started, we complained that the cutlery are short, things are slow in the kitchen. Then they were like, we are losing the cutlery, therefore everybody is getting fined 200 rand. How are we losing the cutlery? Who is taking it home? Who is losing it where? Like Siphelele restaurant, they search our bags when you go home. So where is it being lost? So basically, we are buying a cutlery here restaurant because they find all of us 200 rand. That accountant or whatever she is, she gave me this 100 rand. We find a tata. Then the manager came to me. She's like, Mihlali, we know you're not on the WhatsApp group, but we're finding everyone 200 rand. Ndizayifumana nanku ke uphathu wam. So, ndimbuzo sisibani ndizayifumana happy because ninike 100 rand my tips for the day. This is how much I made from working from 1 p.m. up until 2 a.m. There's 100 rand. So, ndizayifumana happy 200 rand the cutlery fine. They're like, no, basically, mandizame ndibaniki because imali yabo I owe them. Guys, when I tell you my tears were here, like, I told myself that, you know what, I'm gonna go home because this is cruel. Like, ningolile. Like, basically, I'm gonna be left at a negative 100 rand after working so many hours. Because Nina, you don't want to buy your stock or inventory. What is it called as a restaurant? Like, besides that, the way that they speak to us, I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the previous in the part 1, the way they speak to you, ingati awuyo, if you even doubt ba kanti ekhaya ndiyathandwa okanye why ndilapha. So basically, this other manager, she comes to me and then she's like, tshintsha hairstyle yakho. And I'm like, she's like, ungabuya apha emsebenzini nale hairstyle. Mind you, work ends at 2 a.m. Then we have to be there at 1 p.m. So where am I going to find the time to take out these braids and do another hairstyle? I got no reason why Mandy's change. And I know 3 other girls that work with the same hairstyle. So I was so confused. Like, ingati they were out to get me because I'm new, or maybe they didn't want me there. Because I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the part 1, but even when I came into work today, they were like, Koduka uzopangela, we were demoting you. Just because I was slow on my first day and still trying to learn the ropes. We're demoting you. I'm like, guys, can I please work because ndilapha? I bought the uniform, I paid the transport to come here. Abafuni ivasana. Ngelaka, they let me work, but at what cost? Because I only made 100 rand because itafile ziyavalwa for abantu babo. I can't. So I'm like, I tell this manager, I'm like, I can change my hairstyle within a few days. She's like, ungaze emsebenzini unale hairstyle. She's speaking English. Yabazi wethu, but ke mna ke ndithetha isiXhosa sam. Uthi, don't come back to work unale hairstyle. Ngomso, which is Friday. Today is Friday, yeah. So I'm like guys, indlela basiphatha ngayo phayana, but more so especially me. Like, especially mna, because ndimtsha andazi noba kwenzeka ntoni politics aphayana, but ibuhlungu. Some other girls told me that before I worked there, they called them for a meeting and they said that babi nimbatshe nemilenze, babaniki gift card iskamek, bathengani makeup, yenzani makeup nibabi. How do you say that to people? Like, guys, into yenzeka pha ibuhlungu. It's so painful, and they fine us for everything. Ngathi benza imali ngathi, Your hair is not up to their standard, fine. Your nails are not done, fine for yonke into nje. Ingathi we are fueling the restaurant. That's no bad libize kahle la gama, but ingathi sithi ngoku abaqhuba le restaurant. Yo. No guys, I thought I should speak up because ibuhlungu into yenzeka pha, like yeah, I need a serious investigation. I'm mhlawumbi soft, maybe I don't know how things work, but no ways. The first day I worked there, I came home with blisters, being sore, guys, because my feet were so sore, like, but I told myself I'm gonna work hard, I'm gonna prove myself, but toxic like environment. They are so mean. The managers, like, mean girls on 100. I told myself, I'm 210 zogotuka. The fuck off up and down. The go to guys. I like, and now apparently they were looking for me, saying I owe them tomorrow. Man, Disney imali uban endikola phi imali. Like basically, I spent so much money. I spent so much money, guys, on literally all of this, like equipment, indoni. Lungisan, if anyone from that restaurant sees this video, lungisani indlela enenza izinto. So since I posted the video izolo, some of the managers at Babel did try to call me, contact me, but I've not been returning their calls or their messages. One of the managers even went as far as DMing me on Instagram, offering to refund me for a uniform as well as the equipment in exchange for me taking down the video. Obviously, I did not respond to them. And it really saddens me because they think this is really just about the money. Yes, I did incur financial loss, but it's more about the principle. I thought that they would admit their wrongdoing and try to better the working conditions of the employees, but I don't think they see themselves in the wrong. They have gone as far as asking or making the employees report my account, report my videos. Now, for those of you who don't know, I'm a student, but I'm also a part-time content creator. So apps like Instagram and TikTok, that's where I make a little bit of extra money. So them trying to get my account taken down is cruel because they are now taking my last source of income, or at least trying to, but hopefully it's not going to work. Yeah, so since I posted la video, there are abantu in my DM who have been sharing their testimonies, telling me about the experiences that they have had at Babel and other restaurants and clubs as well. It's really disheartening and heartbreaking, and I really hope that these restaurants can make an effort to right their wrongs and better the working conditions of the employees, because I just want to say thank you to you guys for all of the support. I see you guys in the comments. I see you guys leaving bad reviews under Google. You guys have even posted the video on Twitter. It's going viral. You guys have made such a great effort to create awareness. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing, because you're not only helping me, you're also helping the employees who are still working at Babel, because I quit mos ansapangelipa. And I want to thank the people who have gone the extra mile, because there are people in my DMs who've been offering me job opportunities, who've been plugging me with job vacancies, trying to lessen the impact of the situation that Babel has put me in. And I want to say thank you for the EFF, especially for the action that they are taking against Babel. They released a statement. They said that they're going to go to Babel to make sure that employees are passing their employment contracts, basic salary and whatnot. So thank you so much to the EFF. It just goes to show how united we are as a country and how powerful social media can be. So I just want to thank everybody for all of the support, basically.
This is not the first time that a high-end restaurant has been accused of unfair labor practices, but the claims against the Babel Restaurant strike at the heart of how workers are treated in South Africa's hospitality industry. Upon the story going viral on social media, the EFF and the government decided to get involved and handle this Babel Restaurant controversy.
Member Godwin, thank you so much for joining us. We just listened to that really disheartening video as well. As the EFF, you have issued a statement noting with grave concern this alleged exploitation.
Yes, we are concerned as the EFF, and we believe that this must be dealt with and decisively. So it actually calls for a lot of things. But also I think it's important that, of course, viewers that we have here and the community in general, community of workers as well, that they thank this young lady for coming and being brave enough to raise this particular issue, because it's not easy for workers to come on the platform and tell people exactly what is happening behind closed doors. And of course, as Capital does not forget, they will try and deal with her. In this case, they've already dismissed her, and we believe that as the EFF, we have a duty to protect her.
And as you're mentioning, it was pretty brave of her to speak out as well, because now she's facing the consequence of being unemployed. It couldn't have been easy. She must have been brave to speak out, and it couldn't have been easy for her to pull out of tonight's interview as well. What does that tell us about the environment in which people in the hospitality industry, our waiters and watrons, operate under? That they can't even voice their concerns without fear of being dismissed, or that they can't even come to a program like this because they may be intimidated?
Yeah, no, thank you very much. And I must declare, that I have extensive working relationships with the Departments of Labor, with the bargaining councils that regulate the sectors, both nationally and regionally. And I do have that good relationship with them. And I believe that, these kind of things are here to actually explain what sort of pressure they go under as workers, and we are dealing with a lot of problems that are underlying, because the system is brutal itself. Workers go on without contract of employment, workers go on without national minimum wage being complied with by different employers, and if you raise your voice, you are being dealt with decisively by them, and they hold all the power. They can litigate all the way, knowing very well that you will not be able to afford the litigation. But again, we are dealing here with this case. When we listen to the content of that particular case, it's very concerning that tools of trade, such as wine openers and cigar cutters, have to be something that the employer would allegedly want the particular employee to buy. It is a very serious problem that must be dealt with. And in fact, the EFF, as has already committed, it is going to be visiting that particular restaurant to go and find out exactly what is happening. But also, different stakeholders also will be engaged. The leadership of the Bargaining Council of Pretoria Food will also have to come on board to do their own inspections, because they have a main agreement that they have to enforce in different companies. We also have the Department of Labor that might need to chip in to make sure that the registrations has been done for those particular employees. But if you work without a contract, if you work without a pay slip, if you have been paid with tips, according to that particular main agreement, you are not supposed to be paid with your own tip. Your tip is actually not part of your remuneration. Even the Department of Labor will tell you. Different inspections that were done recently by them, together with the Department of Home Affairs, were very clear that tips do not form part of the your remuneration. And if the employee then is on commission, in an event that the commission is less than the national minimum wage, the employer was supposed to pay those particular employees the national minimum wage, which is basically reviewed on annual basis. And in this case, it seems that if someone is saying, I came back with 100 rand for that particular day because a breakage and a runner's fee, which is illegal deductions to an extent, already showing you that there is a problem, because you are not supposed to be deducting that kind of money from the employee to start with.
I mean, Godwin, there's so many things wrong here too. And as you're mentioning in that video, the young lady does say that she made 100 rand on that night as well. And she had been working from 1 p.m. until 2 a.m. And to go home with 100 rand and also having to pay extra as well. But on the tips too, it seems that not only are they getting only the tips and not a basic, but that tip as well is also being deducted, and a certain portion is going to the restaurant. But it doesn't seem that it's only Babel in Menlyn that's doing this. It seems like it's a problem across the board. In your relations with the Department of Labor and the various stakeholders as well, where are they?
Yeah, so we need to make sure that we encourage people and workers in general to blow that whistle and inform us and draw the attention, because there's so many establishments out there, and the only way we'll know is when there is a request from workers for intervention of the EFF. In this case, the EFF is there in Central, just next to CCMA on Pretoria Street. Anyone that has got an issue has to just visit the EFF offices, and then there will also be a hotline that we're going to establish as the EFF to make sure that all complaints come through, of course. And then from there, the different stakeholders that are responsible legally to go and also attend to these matters, because we have different institutions that can play a role. But the problem is that if people are too scared to blow the whistle, then it becomes a very serious problem. People must do it for other people that are coming, or their co-workers and also the future workers, because when they dismiss this particular young lady, it doesn't end there. They're going to come and hire somebody else and continue with the same treatment with somebody else. So when you leave the matter and then you resign and you think that the conditions will be better, you are just running away from the same thing, because the system of capital itself is brutal and it works all over the sectors. It's not just this one. So there's a lot of restaurants that are doing this, and we have to call out workers and ask them to blow that whistle so that we can attend to this matter as soon as possible. So we can deal with these people. We'll come to them like a ton of bricks, and they will never, ever continue with this particular treatment of workers. In an event that we have that matters reached our attention, we will be waiting for those particular complaints, and we will start by addressing this one.
Come on them like a ton of bricks. You've also mentioned that for this particular restaurant, the EFF will be visiting that restaurant too. What is the objective of that? What are you hoping to achieve?
So, one, as a political party, the EFF has a right to go out there and address issues that are societal and community issues. We can deal with the semantics of whether they are relevant people and so on, but we are not going to sit back and look at our sisters and brothers being exploited and then being told that no, you're not supposed to intervene. Secondly, is to work together with the bargaining councils, to work together with the CCMA, work together with the Department of Labor to make sure, and trade unions, by the way, that are also representing workers in that particular sector, to make sure that we address this matter. Because a lot of these issues, you find that there is a lot of bureaucracy that entangles all parties to an extent that no one is able to do anything. But inspections must happen, and it must become the order of the day until we clean out this mess.
Inspections must happen indeed. Godwin, thank you so much for joining us in studio for this very important conversation.
The story continues to unfold. It raises a larger question. How many other workers are suffering in silence? Babel Restaurant may be a symbol of luxury dining in Menlyn, but as these revelations suggest, there's more to the story. If you have experienced similar exploitations in the workplace, know that you are not alone. Speak up, know your rights, and stay together. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video to help spread the word. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you for watching. It's bye for now.